Hello, we're back. This is the final one of the week, number 53. And it's a lovely Thursday here in sunny Dublin / Ireland. So what's the story today? I just wanted to jump on and do this pretty quickly, to be honest. I say quickly, it's going to be the same length. But first day in a while where it's like, okay, we're going to be working for the majority of today. There's a lot for me to do. I realised last night that I think a consequence of the last couple of weeks has just been that I've let a few things slide for myself in relation to work I wanted to do for clients, or more importantly, even things I had in my mind that have maybe slipped away. And I just want to take blocks of time today per client and make sure I'm actually on the same page as them, and make sure that I know what's important for each client. It's funny because I feel like I'm getting to a point now where I actually, until the last client or two, I could have had pretty much everything in my head, and now I need to take my own advice in a lot of ways because I need to have better, and I've alluded to this as one of the key things for this quarter, but there has to be a better system for making sure all this stuff is down on paper, so to speak, because I can't keep everybody's key things top of mind, or I can't have everyone's objective there when I need it. And anyway, that's what I'm working on today, and probably tomorrow morning, and probably early next week, to be honest. It's not like, there's a lot to do for some clients, the longer term ones, and there are a few little things already for some new clients that I'm excited to get stuck into. So anyway, that's what's top of mind. I just got sent a message by someone that it was so interesting, I thought, and my mind spiraled for about 30-40 minutes in relation to this. Essentially, this person, I'd spoken to them a while back, and I now remember it I remember a part of that conversation that relates to their message. So I said to them, it didn't go anywhere. They were a great person, really enjoyed the conversation. Wasn't the right time. They didn't need my help 6 months ago. They don't really need my help now, but they just checked in to see how things were going. And I said, basically, I'm really happy with where things have gone since I spoke to them. And I didn't realize it at the time, but the way I told my story, or how I highlighted what my ambitions were to that person 6 months ago, it almost was as if they thought I lacked ambition, or that I lacked a lofty enough target, because what they said to me in the message was along the lines of, you must have, based on what I replied to them with, they said, oh, you've hit your target, then you're all set, basically. And what I'm trying to get at here is, I don't know, they meant nothing. I'm not taking it defensively, I'm not taking it negatively, what I got in the message, but it's just interesting to me why there always seems to be this necessity for more or greater or bigger. And, frankly, where my business is at now, 9 months into it, if this business stayed this size for the next 5 years, I'd be very happy. Like, very happy as in, that would be consistent income for me and my family. It would be a nice, steady, good size of a business. It would be generating revenue that more than covers the salary I want to take out of it. So in real terms, I would be paying myself the same that an employer would probably pay me, plus I have flexibility, plus I don't work as many hours, plus it's my own business, and plus anything I make on top is profit that I can eventually take out or reinvest. And it's almost as if that's not enough in some people's eyes, or in a lot of people's eyes. And I was thinking about it then in the context of where did this come from? Like what happened the days of just being happy with a certain size of a business, or what happened, or what is wrong with now having a company that generates, let's say between 10 and 30,000 in revenue a month, as opposed to needing to go from that to 100,000 a month. I mean, don't get me wrong, part of what I do is help people make that transition or make that leap, because I understand what it entails. I know what it's like to run a business of 6-figure a month revenue, and it's not easy. But by all means, you don't need to do it to be very successful. One thing I always think back to, the conversations that would come up occasionally with the owner of the agency I worked with previously, was that they could have stopped at any point in time, and what they would have achieved to that point would have been tremendously successful. There's almost this, and I don't really know where it comes from, but maybe it's the US influence on our lives, or maybe it's this idea of continuous growth. And I saw in the news recently in the context of world leaders saying, we want to build a prosperous country and things like this, and an economy that's always growing. And it's kind of a dangerous mindset to have, truthfully, because you can't always have growth and you don't always need it. Maintenance and sustainability and consistency of delivery is to me as impressive as it is to grow continually. Growing continually in a lot of ways means that you're growing, but someone else is probably suffering because of that. I think there's a lot to this, right? There's a lot that I don't even understand, that I may be dancing around here. I mean, I don't understand the economics of how things work on a grander scale. What I'm just trying to say is, I think at a personal level, the more I run this business, and the more that the days go by, and the more that I see where I've got it to and have ideas about what I'd like it to become, the more I feel more and more comfortable with the fact that what I've currently got is brilliant. And that's just it. It doesn't, there's no, if I want to add 5% extra pressure to myself to make it a little bit larger or make it a little bit different, I can. But there's something nice to be said about, appreciating what you have, I suppose. And I don't really know why one message flared this up on me. This is a thought I've had for a while, but maybe that was the trigger point for me, in the sense of, I just feel more often than not, there are great businesses out there that do not need to grow, but feel they have to, just because. And that to me is not healthy. And I think it often surprises people when I speak to them, because I'm not interested in helping someone 10x a business. I mean, I could, and if they really, really want to, and they're a great person and all the other boxes are ticked, I will help them try and achieve that. But that is a long-term ambition. That is not if I think of the agency I was with, we more or less 10x'd, maybe even probably 12, 14x'd our revenue over a 2.5-3 year period. That was rapid growth, okay? And a lot of that, again, was being in the right place at the right time. But to do that growth now in the current market, I mean, you're going to be banging your head against the wall, because it's just not the right time to be thinking like that in most people's cases. And again, I just beg the question, why? Why do we have to think like that? I'm not sure. I watched the video last night. There's this series on YouTube. It goes back to, it goes to tell stories of people from Galway specifically. And a lot of them will be telling stories about how their families had a really successful business back in the 60s, 70s, 80s in rural Galway or County Galway or whatever it is. Those businesses weren't 10, 20xing. These businesses were doing exceptionally well. And I'm not saying that the world has changed a lot, but at the same time, it hasn't changed that much. And I suppose my general point to wrap all this up is, I'm finding happiness in realizing that there's tremendous success in almost not striving for endless growth, and being happy with having a great business and not worrying too much about what people think it could or should become, and being very proud of what it is. So anyway, those are all the thoughts for today. I didn't even mention what's coming up for me otherwise, but that's the main thing on top of my mind. Anyway, I'll be back next week. I'm not going to do any video tomorrow. Weekend away with the family, see some friends, which is going to be great. and I'll be back on Monday. And next week, all being well, lots going on, lots of travel, lots of client work. It's exciting, and I have to jump on a call now. So that's that.